So, good evening guys, and sorry for the small delay, but it is P-Zero Sunday evening. We are at Zandvoort this evening, and we are about halfway into our short qualifying session. Ryan Sam leads the way on the timesheets in a 10.4 and 11.1's there behind. We do have some guys filtering in the into the grid, as well as Ryan Sam's coming into the pits. We've got Arwin Evans, he's coming to a lap, so is Arwin going to improve any? He does, he goes to 11.1 and just jumps Skarma by a very little bit. So let me get the stream up. Oh, and excuse that, I am late. Sorry Pedro. Good evening Mr. Mick as well. I was away, it was my son's birthday party today and it so done very late. So, Yeri, he's coming into the pits at the moment. So, Ryan Sam leads away. We've got Alban Evans P2, Skarman 3, Chubby Slug P4, Leon Evans 5, Yeri P6, Chev P7, Rob Wills on board their championship leader as we speak on an outs lap. About to do his, what I think will be the second run of the session. So, we will go on board with the Ferrari man and our championship leader as he heads up to turn 1. Part and he's braking about 60 metres, quite a late brake stop for turn 1. Then a long apex, let the car drift right and use all the curb and then stay tight, flick it right, small touch of the brakes and then keep a nice tight line. Get the pivot down as smooth as you dare and as aggressively as you can. Off the bank corner of turn 4. Through the kink of 5, 6 and 7 up over the hill. Then downhill to turn 8, a tricky little corner. Rear the car can get very late, especially on race trim, so you've got to be careful. And then turn 9, the flick left, careful on this outside curb because it'll always try and pull the car even wider than you want to be. Then the long arduous turn 10, then the sweeping turn 11 into the second DRS zone of the circuit. Then down into 12 and 13, the one and only kind of chicane of the circuit. Chuck it in, you can attack that curb a lot more on the inside. Then he tucks it up, early shift to 4th to get that power down. Then one big brake is only go 30 metres, you can brake very late, chuck the car in, use all of the exit curb and then stay nice and tight now as you come off the banking. Although Rob's happy to use the full racing line, he's coming to come across now. That'll actually cost him more time retrospectively, but he goes to P2 and 11.0, but Chev straight in behind them. They were pretty much setting simultaneous laps there. And at 10.9, Ryan Sam, the standee today, half a second up the road from everybody. So where else do we have? Let's actually get some data up. It'll be interesting to see just exactly who set what and what tyre. So Chubby Slug still on the medium compound, that's interesting. But while moving on, who was that input? That was Speechy in the Red Bull. He goes up to P11 and a 112.0, and I think this is just the last flurry of our last laps coming in. Is this Laverick? He's coming into the pits. Metcalf not on a lap at the moment. So I think most drivers now are on their way back into the pits, and it will just be prepping for that last run. We have Dixie just come out the pits. Good evening Jock, hope you're well mate. Where are you sitting in the grid at the moment? P13, but I assume you've done that in the medium compound and you'll have some more time in the pocket. Sorry for the delay getting the stream going as well boys. As I say, my little man's my youngest birthday, so priorities and that, you know. So Dixie, who was that he was letting through? I think there's somebody on an outlap. To all the drivers round about him on outlap, so just need to focus on himself. And Ryan Sam now is going to lead the build. We have a red door. Is this Speechy coming towards the line? Let's see. Yes it is, but he's going into the pit. So Ryan Sam is going to be a lead driver. Lodale I think is coming around the last corner now, but he's run out of fuel, so we will go to Ryan Sam. He's going to be the first man to get on, which at this time left in the session, I think this could be his last run. Don't think he'll have time to get another one in after this. He may. There he goes, heading up to turn 1. Finding the braking nice and easy. Jerry retires from the session, so he's not going to improve any further. He is P9 at best for the race ahead. Ryan Sam looking very tidy though off the banking. Very smooth in the power application. And he's got out the lap. Interesting. So let's see. So the fastest lap was set on the softs. Interesting. I wonder why I backed out of that one. So where else do we have drivers on laps? Let's go to Dixie. Dixie went straight in the pits. I'm not really sure exactly what's happened there. Hate this track. Zandvoort is a funny little circuit. It's very technical. And a lot of corners the car just wants to kill you. That is a fact. So can anybody get close to Ryan Sam? Where is Rob Wills coming through turn 1? Little kinky 2. The flick of 3, then into the banking of 4. And in real life they used a higher line in that corner, but it's just not viable in the game at all. There is no grip out there in any way, shape or form. Dixie got his teammate coming up here, he needs to be careful. Oh, and that may have compromised Rob Wills' exit there on the third to last corner. Definitely not the teamwork that Ferrari were looking for, and that is now Rob picked up an invalidation on his lap. So that bit over, he'll probably sweep into the pits. No, he's going to go straight on. He's only got 30% energy. It would have been a 10.7, so not quite enough to get Ryan's hand, but it would have put him onto that front row of the grid. Alvin Evans, can he improve? He is not, he's a 10th off the pace. Leon Evans, he's invalidated. Matty, 3/10 up. So Matty looking to go way into the 10s here, and just look how competitive from P3 to P7 at the moment. There's a 10th between 5 drivers, which is pretty crazy. And Matty's going to get a little distance toe all the way to the line, so he does a 10.6, so a couple of tenths in it now between himself and Ryan Sam. Matty onto the front row of the grid, and that would have bettered Rob Wills' lap as well, because he was a 10.7, although it was an invalidated lap, and Pedro gets disqualified from the session for being parked in a dangerous location. That's very strange. Speechy coming off the banking now. And he does not improve, he's nearly half a second down, so the checker flag falls in the session. Dale Sunter there improves, he goes to P10, so Ryan Sam takes the checker flag. Matty's not on one, is Shiv? No, he's not. Rob Wills coming into the pits, I think it could be over. And just like that, in the end of the session, quite anticlimactic. It's over for Dixie, he does a 13.0 at best, the slowest man in the session today. But Ryan Sam on pole by a couple of tenths. Matty in P2, Shiv P3, the Chubby Slug up there in P8 on that medium compound tyre. I don't know if that was a smart play there from Matt. There is no benefit really to Zandvoort for being on the alternate strategy. Yeah, I think Matterman should have got himself in about it at the front. He's got to be fighting Matty and Rob. So, Ryan Sam pole position, Matty P2, Shiv P3, Rob P4, Alvin P5. Leon Evans P6, Skarma P7, Chubby Slug P8, Yeri P9, Dale P10, Laverick 11, Metcalf 12, Speechy 13, Keith 14, Jock 15, Rodders P16, Dixie P17. Pedro disqualified from the session, so Yeri in the end, he retired the car from P9 and never lost any position. I think we're just waiting on Speechy getting tailored up and into the pits, and that's him now being secured. So the curtain falls on qualifying, and we see Ryan Sam on pole by 0.2 of a second to Matty, but just look, Shiv, Rob, Alwyn, Leon and Skarma, very, very competitive. You look at Chubby Slug's their time, 11.4, it's about a 7/10 delta on the tyre, so that's a 10.7, so he was right there with Rob's pace as well. You can probably bank on them being another couple of tenths in the lap, just you're never fully committed if you run the medium tyre, because you obviously want to bank the lap. So I think Chubby Slug's right in the ballpark to be on the pace. Is that being out of position though, down in P8 going to hamper him? Getting through the grid here is not easy. So good luck to all. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, although a little late. And we now just wait on the grid, getting prepped. The guys outside the top 10 will choose their strategy. They can obviously have free choice of tyre, so I think we'll see the majority of them maybe go... Well, it's quite even actually, soft to medium. Track position being critical at Zandvoort, especially if you're in quite a competitive and closely fought qualifying, which we've seen there, so drivers will have to be aware of that one. Good evening, Chris. I hope you're all well, sir. So, well, I'm sure we will get going any moment. I think it's like 38 laps here as well. It's quite a long race. 35 maybe even. So a long road ahead of the guys. So the timer falls, 36, yeah, I knew it was pretty high. So Ryan Sam will get a sit on that formation lap, and then they will be set for 36 laps ahead of them. Let's check the tyres for those outside the top 10. Get Laverick on the softs, Metcalf on the mediums, Speechy on the softs, Keith mediums, Jock softs, then Rodders, Dixie and Pedro all on the medium compound tyre there at the back of the grid. Row 1 of P-Zero-Zandvoort Grand Prix will be Ryan, Sam and Matty. Row 2, Shiv and Rob Wills. Row 3, Alban and Leon. Row 4, Skarma and Chubby. Row 5, Yeri and Dale. Row 6, Laverick and Metcalf. Row 7, Speechy and Keith. Row 8, Jock and Rodders, and row 9, Dixie and Pedro. A good... Yes, I agree, Chris. Although, a track like Zandvoort, it's... yeah. I think we'll see a lot of moves into turn 1, and that'll really be it. But I hope I am mistaken. So Ryan Sam leads the way. We'll get on board with Pedro as he comes round the bank, and you really see there just what kind of angle that banking sits at. Yes, I agree, Mick. So Pedro feeds his way into that P18 slot on the grid. And then we'll go to Ryan Sam. Let's go to position changes. As we watch, we get a nice view from the back of the grid here for the Zandvoort or Netherlands Grand Prix. P0 is underway, and I'm going to have to get on board because we're not getting a good view. But Ryan Sam gets a very good start. A lot of you spinning his first phase, but second phase, once he found the gear, was very good. Now look at it further back. Shiv, Alvin, Skarma, Rob Wills, all jostling position. Chubby Slug seemed to have gained a few, but that is going to fall back down as he tries to filter through the first couple of corners. So Ryan Sam breaks away. Matty seems to be going with him in there already, starting to put a little bit of a gap onto Alvin Evans. We have two drivers further back there going side by side, and I think that's somebody on the wall. It could be Yeri. I think it is Yeri. Falls back to the back of the grid, and let's look further back. We get Chubby Slug now on his medium compound tyre. We'll go on board with the man on the mediums. He's up to P7, so he has found the position, but of course we've seen that early incident. So now can he start to find his way through? And there's somebody else out, VSC. I think Dixie has had a bit of a moment. Oh, and there's been a big crash between Dixie and Dale is out full course safety car. So Dixie's filtering round. Ryan Sam will they use this opportunity to box? So early safety car, the guys all filter into the pit stops. Chubby Slug, Laverick, of course, they've all got a big advantage, and the guys on that medium compound tyre have just got a bit of a jump. I can't really fill you in with much, honestly. SPW, it's just a second lap. It was pretty status quo. Ryan, Sam Down have all jumped to the pits in the early safety car. Dixie and Dale had a big incident coming down turn 8. Or Dale had a moment and Dixie couldn't get out the way. The car never ghosted in time. And that's pretty much been it. Ryan Sam Down is now all pit. I'll show you actually. You can see they've all took the pit stop. Pedro, Keith, Laverick, Chubby, Skarma, Shiv all go for track position. Pedro started from the back of the grid. He is now in P6 on the prime strategy. So Pedro now in what I would class a podium position. Because the guys in the sauce, and this is where I think Shiv, Skarma and Laverick have not thought about this. Even if they think they can maintain pace or track position, they're going to have to come through all that traffic, right? And that's not easy. Zandvoort, it's going to cost you a lot of time. And especially guys, Matty, Arwin, Jock, Rodders, these guys could well make an attempt to get these tyres to the end of the race. It is possible, the hard tyres will do it. You maybe not be that competitive, but they will get there. So Shiv, Skarma and Laverick, they need to clear a gap very, very quickly and open the gap up to probably somewhere in the region of 10 to 12 seconds before they box. Otherwise, I think their strategy will go against them. So while the safety car's out, I will quickly grab myself a refreshing drink. Chat. So I am back, chat. Our front five, of course, not to pit. Top six, sorry. And safety car, we're back to green flag racing, I think. Safety car has come in, so we have. And look at Chubby Slug and Skarma here. Is Matterman going to try and make the move into turn one? Yes, he is. Skarma, though, will get that better grip on the outside line. But look at Chubby Slug, he's able to apply the power actually better, as Skarma has a little bit of a connection issue and seems to fall back the order, so Chubby Slug made the gain he had to do on that medium compound tyre and hold these guys on the sauce behind. Let's look further back. What is happening? Speechy has now fell down the order. We've got Yeri all over the back of Rodders. These guys all, of course, on fresh tyres. And look at Ryan Sam already on the back of Pedro. The two Alpha Tauri men. And I think we're going to see Ryan Sam go through, and his teammate here goes down the inside. No contact there between the two. They'll still say side by side. Pedro will hold the inside line here, but Ryan Sam just has to have a lift, and a car just seems to appear there, and I think that's Skarma. Skarma having all sorts of connection issues there. He has a big lag connection, and here goes Ryan Sam. Oh, and oh, that's a daylight dollar shot, and he's ended up round. I think Pedro retains P5. I don't know what to make of that one. Could there have been space left there? Possibly. So guys in the hard tyres doing not too bad at the moment. And who's that? Chubby Slug now into the pits. Is Matterman had a moment? Is this for a wing change? Let me see. I'm going to stay on board with Alfa Romeo, man. He is. He's in for a new wing. Matterman has had a moment. And the wing is fully off the car. So let's look further up the grid and let's look at the Rob Wills Alban Evans fight. Matt doing Matt things, Mick. Because our championship leader is looking punchy. He's got Matty a couple of cars ahead. He's on a better tyre at the moment. And he can't really afford to sit behind now, Rob. He's got to get track position over Matty. Maybe he just wants to finish close. Not take any risks. We should have DRS enabled the next lap around as well. Further back we've got Dixie making gains in Metcalf. The Skarma still having funky connection issues. Shiv sets another fastest lap of the race now, and he's got that gap out front to 1 point, in fact to the medium tyres 2.6 seconds. His DRS is enabled on lap 5 of the race course after that safety car. And Keith, is Keith at the moment? He has in the turn 1. Keith has went round and he's going to go all the way back there. He's just trying to get well out of the way of the guys, so they all filter through now. And what is happening further up? Shiv got the gap almost to 2 seconds, but this little battle here, the Alban, Matty, Rob Wills, I think this is one worth staying with. Pedro is ahead of these guys as well. And holding on to his energy not too bad is Pedro, so he's doing a job at the moment, although DRS activated. I think next time around he'll find it very hard to hold on. And just as you say that, he seems to be making a gain on Metcalf here. Oh, and Adam does really well there. Metcalf just was ghosting, and he had to get out that massively. Did he fall out? He's lost out in DRS as well, so Skarma is going to be able to have a go at Adam here. Is he going to try and come for the move down the inside? He is not. So Dixie holds him off this time around. And Dixie holds off Skarma for now, and look at Matty now. 3 tenths away from Pedro, get Rob Wells just a couple of tenths away from Armin as well in P5. As Mataman sets the fastest lap of the race now, it's medium compound tyre. And we have a yellow flag sector 1, Keith round again. Is that a DNF? No, it is not. He's just had a little bit of a moment off for Tom Ford. And there's Rob eyeing up the better exit here. Can he get the run in Armin? Armin of course has the DRS also. So maybe Rob looks at the bigger picture here and focuses on the move somewhere up the straight. Yeah, I agree, Mick. The longer Pedro keeps these guys behind, the better. Pedro's doing a good job at the moment. Of course, that little bit of contact with Ryan Sam, but yeah. And Ryan Sam now with the fastest lap of the race. Where is Ryan? He's in P8. And recovering very, very well here. So, and this is what I thought would happen at Zandvoort. Once the guys get in their train, you pretty much get stuck. There is not much big dump. Is Chubby, Metcalf and Keith all box. I did have a sip of water. Why do you say that, Mr. Stephen? Do I sound dry? It's been a long day, mate. A lot of screaming kids about me all day. So Rob's still stuck in this little bit of a train at the moment. Pedro managing to hold these guys off. And Shiv now get the gap to these guys. It's over 5 seconds now. It's just a day in the air. Pollen, SPW. The old half fever. Matty now all over the back of Pedro, still trying to find a way, but that hard compound tyre is not giving Matty what he's looking for on the exits to really mount a charge. And now Leon Evans is coming to get involved in this fight, so Pedro really starting to bring the pack back together. Ryan Sam now only 1.2 seconds away for this battle. And now in DRS, in fact, already. And who's that? As Matty goes through on Pedro. And now Arwen trying to make his way through as well. Pedro's still on that outside line. He'll go for the cutback here and try and get the run on Arwen off the exit. We've got Rob Wills here waiting to pounce as well, but Pedro off the corner, he gets a much better run, but no DRS for Pedro. Why did he not? I thought he was overtaken before the detection point. He was right behind Armin Evans, but no DRS. I don't understand. Pedro's just been absolutely robbed. That was very strange. I don't understand why I never get any DRS there at all, but Ryan Sam not able to get through this time around. Leon just stays ahead. Now Rob Wills really pushing Armin Evans on. Rob Wills will see that his teammate's starting to open a bit of a gap. Or not his teammate, his championship rival, and Matty starting to open a bit of gap. Of course, Shiv getting himself involved with the championship as well, so this is very much on. And this could be Rob's opportunity to pounce if Matty... Now Matty's got a tough choice here. Does he keep Arwin in his DRS to allow Rob not the opportunity to really mount an overtake? Remember, Rob and Adam played games with Matty a couple of weeks back, so Matty would be pretty clever, I think, to keep Arwin there. Keep giving him the DRS and just nullify any opportunity Rob can fling or try and mount. And then the only way Rob's going to get through is if Arwin makes any form of a mistake. But Pedro's doing well to stay in this train. He's not massively fell off the pace just yet. Of course he is on that slightly older tyre than guys round about him. Only by a couple of laps though, and he's pretty much matching his first sector, so the pace is still good. Skarma now absolutely spent on the energy by lap 11, nearly a third into the race. His Jock has a bit of an oversteer moment there and he's just going to back out and let Skarma go through. So Skarma back to P9. And no opportunities there. Oh, excuse me, chat. Can Rob Wills do anything? He is not, and Matty is doing exactly what we anticipated, or I anticipated, and he is keeping Arwin in that DRS to keep a position between himself. Oh, this could be a safety car. Jock is out, and it is full course safety car. So, big change now. And what do you do? What do you do? And Dixie's had a bit of a moment there out the banking. And that could be some floor damage there, and if Dixie's got floor damage at this track, it could be a disaster. Something came flying off the car. Yeah, Adam making a bit of a moment, so he's on to a medium compound tyre. So we will wait, and then we will get a good idea of what is what. But Leon Evans now leading the way in the race. So all change at the front, and of course we will get the opportunity to get the full pack closed back up. So it'll be a few laps under the safety car. We'll probably be here till about lap 16. And then it's all about to the end. For those guys, Chubby Slug, well, I think he's going to go either to a new set of hards or a new set of mediums here, and again, probably a pit stop to go to the end of the race here. And just a glitchy delay there as they get out the pits. So I think that is us in queue, so it'll be Leon from Ryan, from Shiv, from Matty, Arwin P5, Rob P6, Laverick P7, Pedro P8, Skarma P9, Yeri rounding out the top 10 off the safety car, Rodos in P11, Chubby Slug P12, Speechy 13, Dixie 14, Keith 15 and Metcalf P16. We've lost Jock and Dale, unfortunate for they guys. Last corner claiming victims. The car can get very late, very unpredictably. and Matamans went on to a 5-lap old medium, so yeah Chris, that's exactly what he'll be planning on. Shiv will be hunkering down now for the long stint, trying to keep Matty at bay. Of course, that gap that he built up has just been absolutely wiped out. So now he's got a job of keeping Matty at bay. Matty now up to the safety car has done well to keep Arvin between himself and Rob. He was just playing that tactic game. I think Matty had a bit more pace, but he wanted to keep Arvin between himself and Rob, because of course any championship point gain he can get is a good gain. So we have 3 guys still to catch up: Speechy, Dixie and Keith. Per Metcalf's ended up in the training not being able to unlap himself. Jock has left the session for now. GG's Jock until next week's up. Excuse me. Oh, well, there's always that opportunity, but then when it comes, so safety car in this lap, they're getting a very, very late call, so Leon will need to check the grid up and build himself a bit of a gap. And his throttle's been held, so he's not giving the safety car enough of a gap, but he wants to get going. And everybody's been held there. He released too early, and we see there a bit of concertina effect as the guys all close back up. And oh, that's Metcalf. I'm wondering why that looked a bit strange, but look at Rysam all over the back of Leon Evans off the restart as we head through the kink to turn 3. As Leon Evans goes a little bit wide at 3, that's going to put him on the higher line on the exit of 4. What's happening further back the grid? We've got Rob Wills, couple of tenths off the back at Arvin Evans, and further back we've got Chubby Slug on the medium compound tyre all over the back of Yerry, but it's status quo as Metcalf tumbles down now. He is fully a lap down. And a pretty even and safe restart from all the drivers, so they're just looking at the long game now. I think a couple of these guys at the front will understand that some guys ahead have got to change their strategy, so it's about keeping your head down. And Chubby Slug really hunting Yerry. Can Chubby Slug make the move? Don't think he is. Dixie looking close to Speechy, but not close enough. We get Laverick a couple of tenths away from Rob Wills, but nothing as yet. The grid continues on. Everybody's still in each other's DRS, apart from Rodos, who's just had a moment in turn 1. So he's opened up a bit of a gap now, and Speechy's a couple of seconds away. So Dixie needs to try and clear Speechy here. He's going to fall out of touch in this race very quickly. As Dixie, I think, gets through there, and Yerry, Chubby Slug gets through, and Yerry up to P10. Scammer hunting Pedro now. Pedro still at 10th position, so still, even though he's lost a bit off that pit stop, he's still made some good gains. Oh, Scum's connection doing funny things again. And Alvin Evans hit the grass a little bit there, so is Rob Wills going to be able to get the better exit? He is gaining, but I don't think it's going to be enough. DRS enabled this lap. Scammer though looking punch against Pedro. Pedro got some good straight line speed in that Alpha Tauri, and setup wise he could go on a bit of a winner there, because if he's a hard man to overtake a straight line without DRS, then you're going to have to look at other chances or other opportunities to get through. You would like to see a Shiv win, Mr. Stephen? I think Shiv would appreciate that. Go on board with the McLaren man. He's looking pretty comfortable at the moment. Chubby Slug now getting up to the back of this Skarma Pedro battle. And Pedro was able to hold on to that DRS, so Skarma not able to really get through, and Pedro wasn't even using the energy. Oh, but he's touched that inside curb at one, and that's going to give Skarma the opportunity. I think he'll get beside him. They'll now go by side into turn 3. Small bit of contact there. On again. Oh, and Skarma's just been clobbered there by Chubby Slug. On the outside, and Skarma's round, and he's out. And that could be another safety car. That could be another safety car coming out. Yes, it is. Mick was absolutely bob on. But now, Shiv does not want to box. Do not box here. Wow. So all change. Oh no, I think it's better to box for these guys. So Dixie on to new softs. So, safety car is out. Shiv leads the way now. And we have a couple of guys took the punt for the soft. Ryan, Sam, Dixie and Rodders all in at the soft competitor. We'll go to the end of the race from here. So where do they go from here? So no safety car in this lap, we will do another run. So they'll be going for 16 racing laps on the softs, but I think it's possible. In fact, more than possible. So Shiv leads away, Matty P2, Albert Evans P3, Rob Wells P4, Laverick P5, Pedro P6, Chubby Slug P7, Yeri P8, Speechy P9, Leon P10, Ryan Sam P11, Keith P12, Dixie P13 and Rodders P14. So guys, on a good strategy, I think this soft tyre is going to be very, very interesting. I expect these guys to make good headway. Safety car should come in this lap. and we will get the call just along this straight. There we go, safety car in this lap. So Shiv becomes a pace setter. And now in a controlling manner for this race. Matoman chose to stay out, so he'll be looking for 26 laps in the medium. That is a bold call for sure. Shiv not really letting that safety car go. We see he's going to check his throttle now. You really want to be slowing right down and let that safety car go. It's not going to release Shiv just yet. So this is going to be late, so everybody can pre-anticipate what's going to happen now. Oh, he has managed to get at, no, see, he's took his throttle off. And this is going to cost him. He's went too early, and guys need to start understanding the safety car gaps in need, because look at Matty, he's got the run on the restart. Shiv's going to try and defend this one on the outside line, but I think Matty will get the better of him here on the inside. We'll go back on board. Shiv trying to hold it out, to go through the kink of 3, and he does just hold that off. So Shiv from Matty, Arwin Evans P3, Rob Wells P4, Chubby Slugs managed to get up to P6, Pedro down to P7, and from there I think everybody's managed to get through. We're down to 14 guys left in the race, so guys will be doing their best just to see as Pedro goes blootering through the barriers there, and he's still now racing, and there's contact. He's having a bit of a slide, and he's in the wall again, and now Pedro falls to the back of the grid. Rodders has to get right out of that one. So Dixon, he's off compound tyre, he's making gains, as is Ryan Sam. But further up, that restart, the guys need to open that gap. They really need to let the safety car go. They need to bring the grid right down. You need to be doing about 50 miles an hour. You don't want to stay near that safety car. That safety car needs to be gone, so you can fully dictate the release of the grid. Shiv went too early. The game recognised he was going to lap or overtake the safety car before it was past the safety car line. So instead of allowing Shiv just to go and get the penalty, it restricts your throttle, as Rodders further back has an instant there off the second to last corner. So Shiv leads away, Matty P2, Arvin P3, and Chubby Slug now up to P5 on his medium compound tyre. He's 5 laps older, but pace looking very, very good. Can Shiv open the gap? That's the question. What's happening here? Ryan Sam, he's just got through in Laverick, so Laverick falls down the order a little bit more. Speechy at the moment, yes, he has to Speechy at the moment at turn 9. I think that was just Speechy falling out of the race as Pedro and Keith start to do battle. He's trying to stay away from that inside cut. Pedro will now get the cutback exit. No DRS, of course, because we're just off the back of safety car. This should be enabled the next lap around. May even be this lap actually. So yes, DRS enabled. Nobody quite close enough yet to do anything. Ryan Sam setting the fastest lap of the race, but we'll stay on Chubby Slug because I think there could be something brewing between Chubby and Ryan here. Let's go on board with that Alpha Tauri, man, and just see what kind of pace difference already he's making up the time in these soft compound tyres to the guys on the medium. But you've got to appreciate Chubby Slug's on a 14 lap old medium compound tyre, and Ryan Sam's not quite flying at him just yet. So Ryan Sam's going to be looking at the long game here and thinking about the end product. 13 laps to go in the race. There's a lot of opportunity to come. We could of course have another safety car as well. So opportunities are plenty. Oh, and there's a battle at the front. I've missed that. Matty and Shiv going side by side yet again. They're going to go through the kink of 3 side by side, and Shiv will hold Matty off. So let's stay with this battle, because this one could be brewing, and I think... Oh! Our championship leader's had a monumental moment off the first corner, and it falls down to P10, and that could have detrimental impacts to the championship with 12 laps to go. Rob Wills is now 8 seconds off the train and could have gifted major points to Shiv, to Matty and to Chubby Slug here. So Rob Wills just needs to focus now. He needs to finish. Any points are better than no points at this point. Sorry for the many points there, but it is just fact as Ryan Sam really tries to hustle Chubby Slug. So will this spur the fight at the front on just a little bit more? Matty will see exactly what's just been offered to him. Big points gain, the race win for Matty would be huge as Chubby Slug sets the fastest lap of the race on that 16 lap old medium tyre, as Shiv looks a little bit delicate on the apex of turn 1. Matty get very close there. And look at the top 5 guys, they're all within touching distance of each other. So, who makes the first mistake, or who goes in the first big push? Somebody said a moment there, Chubby Slug, I think. Chubby Slug collecting a lot of the barriers, or it may have been Arwin. I think he's bloated a couple of the braking balls there, and Ryan tries to stick his nose in as we watch from the rear wing of Chubby Slug, but not quite able to there, and had to get out it because if he's going to get pushed onto that inside curb at turn 10, and that would very quickly turn the car around. So, Mataman looking punchy. Shiv having to push on a little bit. He's quite low in energy, 27%. He's got a 30% disadvantage to those couple of guys behind him, as Rodders there has a moment further back, and he is down, having a little bit of a discrepancy on the gravel, but Shiv manages to retain the position for now. Oh, excuse me, chat. So Chubby Slug, Dixie, sorry, managing to pull himself back onto Lavery. Oh, and something's happened to Ryan Sam. What has happened to Ryan Sam? He was right there in the fight. He was fighting with Arwin, and now he's down in P8. I missed that. Oh, and he's had another moment as Ryan's pulled the car very wide, and he ends up on the grass again. He's got to be careful, he nearly goes round. And this race has been a very interesting one. Dixon all over the back of Laverick, and I in a top 6 position. And Matty into the pits. That's interesting. So Matty boxed. I'm very surprised at that. And he's ended up way behind his championship rival. No, Matty. You could have took that medium compound to the end of the race. Did he have to take a wing change there? I'm really confused to why he chose that strategy call there. So let's see if Chubby Slug now can get through and Shiv. This is a yellow flag further back. I don't think that was anything at the moment. So here comes Dixie. You'll see that red light flashing. So Chubby, sorry, he will get fully committed on the push here. Shiv defends the inside of the road, but Matoman with the overspeed there. Nice and easy round the outside. And has he got the pace now to break away? Ryan Sam sits on another fastest lap of the race in a 12.8. And these are our only battles, Dixie and Laverick, and then our battle for the front three. So this is all we've got at the moment. Of course, we've lost 4 drivers from the race, so that'll be detrimental to the race. And we've had safety cars have really split the strategy up as well. And Skarma, I think, oh, he's just left the session. So Mataman not quite out the DRS yet, but Shiv probably doesn't have the energy to really mount any form of challenge, and he'll pick up a warning for that there. 100%. And Mataman now sets the fastest lap of the race on his medium compound tyre, 12.6. That's interesting. Matty now with the fastest lap at 12.4, but of course he's further back 6.5 seconds. He's over 10 seconds away from Rob Wills at the moment. Can Dixie capitalise on this? And Mataman critically out front has cleared Shiv's DRS now, and he has a bit of energy in pocket, so can Shiv close this back up? He is setting PB sector 2s as well, so Shiv's pushing hard, he is trying. I think Mataman just has the pace now, stretching his legs, and Mataman should feel pretty comfortable with this as well, considering he's got a 5 lap tyre disadvantage to those round about him. He's doing very good. And that medium tyre probably will take him to the end of the race. As here comes Dixie down the inside for the big move and Laverick into turn 1. And was there space to be left there? I'm not sure there was any space given. Although it was more of just a small bit of contact. I think hard racing. As Dixie has to get out of there. This is a big oversteer moment on the exit at 4. Could Alvin Evans capitalise on Shiv's lack of energy as well? Oh, and there's a yellow flag. Who's that? Oh, somebody's out. This could be a safety car. Safety car out, safety car out. So, here we go. Now, decisions for those roundabout. Safety car out with 5 laps to go. So, what do the drivers do? Tricky old situation here. Chubby Slug. See, he's in the bad position here as Mataman, because if he boxes, those behind him won't. So is Mataman coming into the pits? Yes, he is. Is Shiv going to come in? Yes, he is. Alvin Evans going for track position, as is Leon. Lavery's going to come into the pits. Dixie will box, and those behind are already had their pit stop. So these guys will be clear, and big opportunity ahead now for those. Because for me, we're sitting on a chubby Shiv and Laverick 1, 2, 3. because Leon and Arwen are going to be overtaken very, very quickly, I think. But we shall see. I don't know, SPW. I don't think so. Not with such little. I would say track position is detrimental in the big stints, but not now. On a big push where you're just, it's going to be balls to the walls for the drivers now, because safety car's they're going to have 2 laps of racing. Safety car looking at the grids out to 34. So if you've not got any DRS, that's the soft tyre's going to play right into its advantage, I think. I think we could see these guys get through pretty quickly, but let's see. Maybe you're right. The man with the sim brain. I would trust you more than I trust me. So safety car out with 4 laps to go. So safety car's not coming in this lap. I'm going to take this opportunity to grab the restroom, so I don't need to break up in what's going to be a very entertaining end. So I'm back, chat. Oh, it's Arwen and Leon brothers? No way. Oh, Arwen Evans and Leon Evans, how the hell did I not notice that? Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm glad, SPW, thank you. I'm so happy. I've said both their names in full as well, and I've never ever clicked. No, that makes me feel better that you said that. But if the shoe fits and that, you know. So safety car is in this lap, because it will always go in on to lap 34. It will only ever be the latest it can stay out. So it's tyre prep time, and here comes the crunch. Is Arwen going to be clever enough to let the safety car scamper away now? Yes, he is. So Arwen is really building the gap, and look how much he's closing them up. Oh, and he's got to be careful there. You cannot do 30 miles an hour and then pick up to 70. And Leon could be getting close to a penalty here. He cannot let that gap build. What he's doing right now is very illegal. And yeah, that is not right at all. I think that will be definitely looked at, because Leon Evans has been deliberately backing the pack up there. The gap was half a second and it went out to nearly 2 seconds on the restart. But tactics, I guess, are allowed to take place. So Chubby Slug here, he needs to go. He needs to take the opportunity. You can't afford to sit here. You've got to get that soft tyre fired up and get pushing here as he goes side by side with Leon Evans. Are going to go on the drag now. They'll both be on the energy as we're on board with Matoman and going up over the hill and heading back down the hill. And this could be detrimental in the end, and I'd be interested to see if there was any party chat there, because if Arwen and Leon have instigated that together, I think they could be both walking towards a penalty as Chubby Slug now tries to look at Arwen. Is he going to go for the switch over and go down the inside? Or Leon, sorry, he is not. So we're going down to a couple of laps to go. It is very, very close behind Rob Wells, our championship leader. He's managed to recover some positions off the back of that safety car and get himself back in the fold as well. But look at Chubby Slug now on Leon Evans. Here we go, they're both in the energy. Leon having to spend everything, he's out. So Chubby Slug now will get the run. He'll get to go up that inside line, and through he goes. Can he now catch Arwen in 2 laps? That is the question. I think he can. I don't think it'll be much of an issue. Alwyn's got a good amount of energy though. And for the sake of Alfa Romeo, it's a very good day in the office for the Constructors' battle. Ryan Sam all over the back of Dixie, look at that. And where is he going to try and go here? Oh, that's not a place where you're going to get round the outside. So, Matoman pushing on, he's got that gap down to 7/10 of a second. Just seeing that soft tyre really come into its own now. 21 laps on the medium. It's just not yielding the same pace, and he's gaining 2 or 3 tenths off every corner here. And what's happened further back? Matty and Rob Wells. Oh, who's that? Ryan Sam round again. Ryan Sam, he's had a race from hell in his first race in P0. But it's going to be all drama at the front here between OTL, Chubby Slug and Alwyn Evans as they come off the bank corner for the second last time. Can Chubby Slug get the run in Alwyn? He's made his one manoeuvre. Matoman sets the fastest lap of the race there. Alwyn Evans falls into turn 1, but Matoman, is he going to be punchy enough to really mount the move? Further back we've got Shiv now got through and Leon Evans. Dixie up to P5, and is he going to let his championship protagonist and teammate go through here? Rob Wills trying on the inside line. Dixie's going to stay tight and he's going to go through, and look at this, he will now chalk off, getting in front of Matty, and now Rob Wills has the car difference between himself and Matty. Remember earlier in the race what Matty was doing to Rob with the Alwyn in between? So Chubby Slug now all over the back of Alwyn's, another win for there. Matoman, come on, get a finger out. Alwyn is derating, you've got nothing to lose. Oh well, saying that, he's got a championship fight to think about, and he is getting good points gaining the drivers round about him, but he's got the DRS, and here we go. Oh, no DRS. He's definitely showing me the light at the bottom of the screen, so it's going to be off the back corner, off the last corner, and Matoman has a huge energy advantage here. This could be it. It's going to be a big sprint to the line. How good of a last corner do they get? Alwyn Evans tucks up, and here we go, off the banking. He's tucked up in the back. Energy on, DRS open, and he switches over, and he's going to get to the line. Chubby Slug wins in Zandvoort. Alwyn Evans P2, Shiv gets P3, Leon Evans with P4, Rob Wills P5, Dixie 6, Matty 7, Pedro P8, Yeri P9, Speechy P10, Rodders P11, and Ryan Sam at the back there in P11. Matoman gets it at the line. And I question if the tactics between the Evans brother are what cost Shiv and the likes an opportunity to really get a go at the podium as Matoman looks to the crowd. That was a good little celebration. I like that. But Matoman wins in Zandvoort by, look at the margin, 0.087 at the line. Alwyn Evans P2, Shiv P3, Leon P4, Rob P5, Dixie P6, Matty P7, Pedro 8, Yeri P9, Speechy P10, Rodders P11, Ryan Sam P12, and Laverick in P13. We lost Keith and Skarma, Metcalf, Jock and Dale. Very, very controversial to say the least. And do you know what makes it even more juicy, Mick? Sexy chatty, you go away, you. Block. Go away, you weirdo. So let's get the guys in for a chat. We need to get Adam and Matoman, Alwyn and Shiv. So bear with me 1 second, please, chat. Matoman. Where is the Shivster? Oh wait, there he is. And do I have Alwyn Evans? I don't, but we'll see if we can get him. So we'll see if we can get them in for a little chat. Is it free? Rage, tell Adam to come on and moderate that and get rid of it. Please.
Hello.
Good evening, good evening. Boy, have we got questions to ask. But we will get to them. Where is the others? There is Chubby Slug. I want the man in question. The man in question. Is he going to join? We'll start with you, Shiv, the P3 man, because you were involved in some controversialness at the end of that race also. And I think we will talk about the elephant in the room, because I'm a commentator and I'm allowed to cause drama. Were you compromised by the dirty tactics on the safety car restart? Do you feel that a race-winning opportunity was taken away from you?
Yeah, kind of. I should have won that race based on pace. The last restart wasn't... I don't know, I haven't looked back. It was very odd because we kind of sped up and then didn't and then did.
Yeah, so I can explain exactly what happened. Leon and Arwen clearly had some tactical manoeuvres in play. Arwen has checked the grid up to 35 miles an hour off the last few corners.
Right.
He's then went up to about 80 miles per hour and Leon didn't go. The gap between Leon and Arwen out the third to last corner was 3/10, and then off the banking it was 1.8 seconds. So it was definitely a tactical manoeuvre to give Arwen as much track position as possible. So basing off what I feel has happened there, and I've seen it with my own eyes, we called it, even the guys in the stream had called it, do you feel a bit hard done by?
Now that I know that a little bit, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was very blatant, and I know Arwen's in the chat, and Arwen wasn't the driver in question. Whether he instigated anything with his brother, I don't even know if his brother. We will get to that because we will ask Arwen, but I think we were robbed of a bigger battle in the closing couple of races there. But that as a whole, Shiv, maybe you feel like one that got away should have, could have, would have. Safety cars made the race very up and down, though, right?
Absolutely. I knew when that first safety car out and the likes of Matty, Rob, etc. all pitted. I knew, especially with this track, I knew there'd be another safety car, so I could run the softs much longer in the race, and a safety car would help me out somewhere, which it did. And then Ryan Samsleon then pitted, and I thought, I've just got to drive this now till the end. I knew Mattoman was behind me. I thought if I can just stay with Mattoman within his DRS, I can make an attempt later on. I'll save my ERS because there was about 6 or 7 laps left. I thought I'll manage this because my ERS was low to defend as well. And then the last safety car came out, and I thought, I saw Mattoman pit, and I thought he's going soft. Soft is the option here. And then Aaron Theon obviously didn't. And I thought, oh, there's not many laps to make a move here, but I knew I'd have pace. So I overtook Theon in the end, but the gap to Mattoman and Aaron was just far too much.
Yeah. So in a whole P3, Shiv, Rob finishes behind you, so the gap closes in terms of the championship.
Yeah, happy with that.
You gain a little bit to Matty as well.
I've only had 4 points in the last 2 races, so happy to get back on the podium. Although, yeah, like you said, I felt I could have won that based on pace. It's probably my favourite track on the game, and it's everyone else's least favourite. So
maybe a bittersweet feeling coming off the back of that one then, Shiv.
Yeah, slightly.
Oh well, good job anyway, mate. I know that's maybe not what you want to hear, but still, a podium is a podium.
Mhm.
So very good job on that one.
Thank you very much.
Are you with us, sir? Let's get the dramatic question out the way. Was there some tactics in play on the safety car restart? Because what I seen on stream, and I don't mean to sound like a cock, excuse the stream, was very unacceptable. In terms of the league was robbed of very good racing in the last couple of laps. So was there instigation between yourself and your brother that was going to be what he's played out? Because I will not be told under any circumstances that was not tactical. It was very clear to see.
To be honest, I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. I just know, what do you call it, third to last corner. I think I heard you mention that I sped up from 30 to 80 for whatever reason. The car wasn't responding. I had the foot down to the pedal.
Yep.
Then it did start going. Then I did slow back down again because that wasn't the plan to jet off from there. Then I just took it as my own because I don't know what went on.
Yeah, well,
I
did say that. I did say that on stream. You were controlling the restart, so like I am not blaming you at all, of course, because you just released the grid. You can't control what any driver does behind you, so I'm just here to ask the tough questions because that's my job. I'm the commentator, you know. I don't believe you're at fault. Of course, I firmly believe Leon got up to some business, but that is out with your control. You don't drive his car, of course. And let's talk about the ending pit. You got very good pace, Arwen. That's one thing I will say. Today you look very strong.
But that's surprised me, to be honest with you, because I've been doing time trials in the middle of the week, and I've been off the pace. I thought it was one of like a very weak track. I wasn't looking forward to it at all, so I was quite surprised with my pace, to be honest.
So to turn up at a race that you feel you're going to be off the pace, and then you were pretty much fighting in that podium battle all the way. I think you were used in some early tactics in the race as well, because we had Matty, you were behind Matty, but you had Rob behind you. So you were like in the middle, you were the wedge and the cheese on the championship fight. And I think Matty could have drove away, but for that full first stint chose to keep you in the DRS to stop Rob getting through on you. Were you aware of that?
After the first safety car, I think there was a car, an Aston Martin in front of Matty, and he seemed to be like Matty couldn't get round him for a while.
Yeah.
And I think we both got round him at the same time, so I think that was a part to play as well, because he was back in his order. And Chiv and I can't remember who was second. They built up a gap then of about 4 seconds, didn't they?
Yeah. So in a whole, Arwen, a very positive day on track for you. You maybe won. Do you feel like safety car should maybe took that pit stop and got onto the softs at the end? Do you think that could have been big for you?
I don't think. I think Chubby Slug, Chiv, they would have probably pipped me on the softs. So I opted for track position and just hoped that whilst they were battling behind, that I could try and keep myself ahead and possibly build a. Because I knew there was only going to be 3 laps, and it's not the easiest track to overtake. So that was the plan: was just try get track position and try to hold on to a podium position.
Which you did in the end. A solid P2 and pipped just at the line. I think you lost out by 0.087 of a second, so not even a tenth at the line. And I think that was just because the energy was spent on your big try to defend Matt off, but with him being on the better tyre, it just showed to have the bit of pace. But you've got to take positives away from the pace you showed in the last 2 laps, because you were on a dead tyre at that point, right? I think your medium tyre was about 23, 24 laps old.
Yeah, I think they were, yeah. 30% were, yeah.
Good positives. You're closing out the season very strong, so very good effort today, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Matto man.
Yes.
That was... I don't know how you feel after that race. You were
up and down.
You started well, and then you were nowhere, and then you had a spin, and you broke your wing, and then you were back, and then you were down. But ultimately, in the end, you managed to prevail and win the race just at the last corner. How do you feel?
I do feel good. I didn't expect to be where we'll finish first. I didn't expect that at all. But a part of me, when I see Owen Evans pass me that. And I pitied and he didn't, I kind of thought, you know what, he does deserve the win. Because he's drove a fantastic race. And when I was behind him that last lap, I was contemplating it. Whether I just to stay behind him, not use.
Are you serious? Are you serious? You're in a championship fight where you can still win a championship and you were going to give up points to your teammate?
Yes.
When Adam lets his teammate through every week and thinks of the bigger picture? Oh, come on, Matthew. There is no room. friendly people don't win championships. If you want to win this championship, I tell you now, you need to win every race for the rest of the season.
I felt bad, but then when I
Hey!
saw the DRS on and I was right behind him, I thought, yeah.
Lewis Hamilton didn't feel bad whipping everybody's ass for 7 years in a row. So,
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
you know, if you want to win, you cannot feel sorry for other drivers. That being said, you won, so...
Yes. Well,
I have a question. If Metal Man's going to be Lewis Hamilton for the rest of the season, can he take his nose ring out?
Oh, it needs surgery, don't forget.
got a lot of cat around it at the minute.
So Mataman, I'm not sure exactly what that does in terms of the championship, but of course it definitely pulls you a bit closer. I think it makes yourself, Shiv and Matty very, very close going into the last few races, and you of course close a little bit of a gap to Rob, yourself and Shiv.
Yes, I
So-
believe Rob's on 307 points. I was looking at it on the...
The gap was 40, right?
Yeah.
And that will now be down by about 8 points. So I think there's going to be roughly 30 to 35 points splitting you 4 guys going into the last 5 races.
Yeah, it's gonna be tight.
There's a lot to play for. So when I say that, do you now still feel bad for
Doesn't
winning
change
the
my
race?
opinion. Doesn't change my opinion.
Fair.
I still feel a bit, because he, as I said, he drove a brilliant race. He he got up that P1 and he made that tactical call to try and hold that P1, which I can respect completely.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw the DRS light on and I saw him flicking, and I thought, well, I do need the points. It's a good one too for us, and we've done pretty well.
Yeah, because of course that's huge points in the constructors' fight as well.
It is. It's quite. But Robin, I reckon Robin and Dixie have got this.
Yeah, of course, because they were P4 and 5. So
Yeah.
they also scored very good points today.
Yeah, that's it. They've done well.
So, eyes on the championship, Matt, man. Are you just going to try and keep your head down, get the best results in the last few races, and just see how you finish?
Yeah, I'm gonna try my best. What's it next week? It's Monza.
Monza sprint, yeah, it's sprint as well.
Oh.
There's still 2 sprint races to go, so we've got Monza next week, and then the last race of the season, Brazil sprint.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I'm hoping I can sort of get my mojo back and sort of get my arse into gear.
Yeah, because you've been in a bit of a slump of late, if we could call it that. I
Yeah.
think that would be fair to say. From the way you started the season, your midpoint in the season kind of tailed off a bit, but you seem to have found that form again. So, and you came through quite a controversial race, and you blew your wing out in that. So, I know safety cars help, and if they don't come, you're probably not in that position. But hey, we all need a bit of luck sometimes. It just came your way today.
This is a roller coaster of a race.
So on that note, Matoman, very well done on your victory.
Well done, Matt.
Well done to Arwen for P2 and Shiv for P3. Controversy aside, Arwen would have been my driver of the day today. I think he thoroughly deserved it. I know there was maybe not massive position gains, but in terms of pace-wise and just being in there, and he definitely looked like a driver that could be in the fight for the front. I think credit where credit is due. So Arwen would have been my driver of the day. Although, maybe some tactics at the end, but we cannot say Arwen instigated them because he wasn't the guy that done it, so that, I suppose, is on Leon to answer if anybody reports it. So, well done to Matt, to Arwen, and to Mr. Shiv.
Thank you.
Will be back on Monday for Cotta with OTL on the channel.
Ooh.
And P-Zero, as you heard, heads to Monza next weekend for a sprint race. That'll be fantastic, I guarantee it. With a grid this close, Monza will be absolutely bonkers. Do not miss it. We will see you then.